Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I thought I'd revisit my botanist's journal that I use whenever I feel like just doing a little bit of stitching. So I had nothing really planned for today and I thought, I haven't stitched, just loosely stitched, improvised stitching based on Jennifer's style of embroidery. So I thought, that's it. Where's my botanist's journal? We haven't played in it for a little while. And I found this is where I was at with a piece. And I thought, perfectly ready to go. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you've just joined me, this little journal has been made out of a Reader's Digest cover. I've got one here, actually, that I've stripped down ready for a journal another day. So these are common everywhere in the thrift stores and op shops now. They're usually pretty inexpensive. This one I got for 50 cents. I like them for a spot to have a small stitchery. So what I did a couple months ago is create a little journal using the two covers. So you can see the spine's been removed. I've then added in these tabs to link the spine. I'll put the video below where I made the actual little journal. So if you're interested in making just a little spot to pop a little stitchery, yeah, it's fantastic. I really enjoy just sort of picking it up and throwing a quick stitchery in. The inside cover is a flip out. So if you're familiar with journal making, let me just come up a little bit. I feel like I'm right up in your space. This is a flip out, so it gives me the opportunity of doing something a little bit bigger. And I've just put some silk tie there. Or actually, I think that's seam binding to hold it. And that one there's completed, little tab. That one there was using a piece of fabric, thread painting it and then building in a few little stitches. And through the process I'm adding little paper tags that have been backed onto fabric just to make it look like a botanist's journal. So there's a few of them in here and that's as far as I've got with it. So it's just one of those ongoing projects that I just fiddle with. So I thought, what am I going to stitch this Saturday morning? And this is the piece. So I've got my tag. Gosh, it feels like forever since I've been working on this. I collaged a heap of fabrics around. I used a bit of a backing fabric. That piece in there was already cross-stitched from a embroidery, so a vintage embroidery. So I cut that little element out and that's what's kick-started the piece. So let's get cracking. So Jennifer Clouston, if you don't know and you are new to embroidery and you want, let me move my camera, it is jiggling. It means it's a little bit close to my table. So every time I bump the table, it wriggles. So yeah, Jennifer Clouston, she's an Australian lady who has got a series of books out showing you some great stitches that you can combine. And what I mean by combine, if you have a look at just this one alone, see all the different elements that are in the piece? Really clever. So it makes it very interesting. You know, I don't know, I'm a child of the 80s, 90s fancy work. And it was just a couple stitches that just, I don't know, they were boring, weren't they? So I find Jennifer's pieces quite interesting to sort of, I guess, the way she combines stitches. And as I've heard her say, you don't need to know a lot of stitches to really start building something that's quite interesting and visually interesting to look at. This book here, if you're going to buy one, this is the first one you need to get because it goes through all of the stitches. And it starts to show you different ways to combine them to build interesting pieces. Now, the other two books, this one here is a project where you work those same stitches into a quilt, and she takes you through the process, and then some of these panels that you create can go into make other projects, but it's based on crazy patchwork. So very clever. And there's even more stitches in here and different ways to present beads and silks. And even if you don't ever do the quilt, when you start looking at all the little elements that she's put together on this piece, my goodness, you could just explore your way through this book looking at all the different little creations of stitches, the combinations of stitches. Sometimes I don't even get past the front cover and I start looking in there and I'm like, okay, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, and then we'll add a bit of this, and then the branch changes again. So brilliant, brilliant. This one here is 10 projects. Same principle with all the stitches, different combinations, building them up, different threads, different mediums being used to create little pouches and bags and all sorts of things. So also worth having in your library. Now the exciting news is Jennifer has a 4th book coming out. So I'm a little bit excited about that. And I've been asked to review it by her publisher and I can't wait. So a early print copy is jetting its way across to me. So you guys will get to see a very early sneak peek of Jennifer's new book. So I can't wait to share that with you. I think we're going to love it. I know we're going to love it. So yeah, bit of exciting news. I'm just going to place a few little stitches here. That little piece of fabric there is flipping up there. And I've already snipped off a little thread, so it's sort of breaking down a little. Then I'm going to get stitching because I just feel like doing something simple. And a little bit of stitching is what we need today. I was going to pick up my panel that has the rabbit on it, Primitive Rabbit, and do a little more on that. I've finished all of the applique where I've stitched down all of those flowers that I did through the week. So now I want to put a layer of flowers across it that are a little bit different, like based on crocheted elements. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like it. I thought, no, I just want something quick, something simple. It's technically, I could have started winter as well. That's also another project that's burning a hole on my on my desk. It's the last season in Stitch the Season, winter. A few of my YouTube buddies out there are starting their season and most of them are summer, which is just cracks me up when I'm heading into winter and they're heading into summer. Gosh, the planet is a big place. So I nearly started that and I thought, no, wait till next Friday, because I had a video already for you for Friday, which was, you know, finishing autumn, because it's technically the 31st, and I did that one last week. So I thought, this Saturday, what am I going to do? And I had nothing planned because the Roxy project, the hat box, is completed, and because there's 5 weeks in May, the new prompt doesn't come out to next week. So I just had this spare day, and I thought, what could I do? Don't go and start a whole new big project. Not that I have anything burning a hole in my brain. I do want to work on my pink jacket. I showed you a pink soft denim jacket that I picked up when I went to Brisbane for the Fleur Woods course. But I'm saving that for when Susanna comes at the end of June. She's bringing an article of clothing from out of her cupboard and we're going to have a little bit of a stitch. So we're planning on revisiting the prompt from earlier in the year, something wearable that the Roxy girls gave us. That's where I did that denim jacket with the bird on the front and all the crocheted elements. And I was really pleased with it. I was very happy with it. So I'm feeling a little braver and I'd like to have another go at another jacket. So I said to Susanna, do you think you could rustle up a piece of clothing out of the cupboard that we could embellish? Well, she could just about see her. She shot off down the hallway, had a rummage, found herself, I think, 2 shirts. So, and then she started rummaging through fabrics that complemented those shirts, and she's like, they're in the suitcase, they're ready. So looking forward to doing that project. So yeah, lots coming. Got a new prompt coming for June from the girls. I can start my winter panel. I've got the wearable pink jacket coming. Oh, I can't wait to start on that. Susanna doesn't get here till the 20th of June. So that one will be at the end of the, towards the end of the month, but we'll get you involved in that. So in the meantime, I had a spare day. Actually, you know what I want to do? These silks, I pulled them out for a video that you guys are yet to see. And they're from an Australian spinning company of silks. And I bought these just after COVID, and I've barely tried them out. It's these guys. Beautiful colours. They've got a real little luster to them. Variegated, which makes them fun. These ones here are, I think, shiny pearl cotton ones, I think. Let me have a look. No, see, they feel silky too. I don't know. I see these threads, buy a sample of them, and then forget what they all are. So I don't know much about those. They're Steph Francis, where I undid a little bundle of mixed threads. That would have been for a project some time ago. These little cotton ones, this again, I'm not sure where I got them from. They might be Steph Francis. What's on this little tag? They're very fine. From Denmark, Colour Fast. They're very fine. So they're sort of, and they're stranded cotton. If I was doing maybe crewel fine work, they'd be good. I've used them a little bit, but it's more because there's a colour there that's caught my eye that I need for a project. I am very colour driven, so the thread types often doesn't really come into play too much because it's all about the colour for me. I'm just looking at this little guy. Do I stay with the green or do I bring in another colour? I'm thinking we play with another colour. Let's have a go. My instinct was to go to the ribbons because I really like working silk ribbons with these little stitcheries. But then I saw this little pack and I'm like, nope, something different today. Let's give them a go. So I don't know what I had in mind here, but I've done some little sketches. What are we going to do? Maybe some little twiggy things. I don't think I'm going to follow what I sketched actually. Isn't it the way? So what are you guys all up to? Are you having a lazy day, or you're racing around doing all sorts of things? I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I've actually got some friends visiting, but they've got appointments in town and are sort of dodging around the place. So I'm sort of not doing too much with those guys. It's just we catch up at meals at the end of the day, and I'll just a base camp for their appointments they have, which is great. Say hello and off they go. So it's good. Someone different to chat to around mealtime. They're looking at building a house up here, so they've come up to meet with builders and, you know, make inquiries. This needle feels so thin. Not thin, thick, and is really dragging through this fabric. It's not doing my joints any favours. This fabric is pretty dense too, so it's sort of not the pleasantest of backgrounds. But it's got such a lovely texture and colour, it's sort of worth the effort. So I'm not putting a lot of thought into this. I'm just, except that stitch there is a monster. I'm just throwing some stitches down and see where it goes. Now I've unthreaded. Gee, it's soft, soft cotton silk. Oop, there goes my phone. I know what I've got to do today. I'm building a barbecue. We went and bought a barbecue. So it was my birthday earlier in the week, Wednesday. And we'd ordered a barbecue earlier in the week before. And we've been cooking a lot inside on the stove, and I don't know, just the fat. I don't think my range hood is taking the smoky fat away good enough. It was a builder supplied one, and I should have stood my ground and said, no, I want to pick my own range hood. But they've given me the builder one, and it's just okay. It's sort of just doing the job. And I've noticed that there's a lot of grease build up very quickly. So I said to my husband, I said, oh, if we're going to have steak or something that's got that smokiness about it, do I do more of this or do I pick another colour? I don't mind that because it picks up on that blue there. Yeah, so we dodged into town and picked up a barbecue, and we thought, well, we won't spend a lot of money on it because we're near the ocean and it's going to be corroded in no time. We had a look at some that were enamelled and they're supposed to last longer, but there was still plenty of stainless steel on it and they were pretty expensive. What am I going to do? Actually, I want to have a go at that little chain stitch. Where is it? I have to refresh my memory. Just can't remember everything these days. Unless I see something else that catches my eye. What have we got here? Good old fly stitch. Lazy daisy stitch. It's this little chain stitch, this guy. Little lazy daisy stitch. I don't need to look that up, surely. Oh boy, oh boy. Actually, I haven't even given myself a branch. Like, slow down, girl. Maybe we do something into here. I like how you can just explore with Jennifer's stitches. What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Thinking about barbecues. Do I like that stitch into there? It's a little bit crowded. I think it'll look too on top of each other. So what else could I do there? Let's have a think about this. Maybe make it more straight in, but then put a little bullion knot at the top of it. See, it still feels too crowded. I think the problem is my thread that I'm using here is quite thick. So if I'm going to work this, my feeling is I need to go down to, say, a cotton so that it's a little bit finer. Have I got anything close? I've got a blue, I've got a grey. Oh, I've got a brown, hang on. So I had a grey, a blue. These are just ones that are always kicking around my desk that I seem to go to all the time. What about this guy? I remember doing this in one of Jennifer's little classes I did. And she pulled out, you know, just good old sewing machine cotton, and it just changed the piece dramatically. I probably should get some more little branches in place because I'm going straight to the embellishing stage, but that's typical. So we'll start up the top here. And just slide in some extra stitches just to soften those big stitches. Oh yeah, that's, oh come on. This is old cotton from Grandma's stash. So they can get a little bit twisted. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. If you haven't seen Jennifer's channel too, go and check it out. She does a 15-minute little stitchery per day. And she does it outside in her garden. And oh gosh, I can hear all the birds chirping, and it does come with its challenges. Every so often a lizard will shoot out from under her table and scare the bejeebers out of her. The last video I watched, she had a goanna come out of the scrub behind her property, and she seemed a little traumatised by that. If you're not sure what a goanna is, it's a very, very large lizard, a little bit on the prehistoric side, and they can get quite big, and they're quite plucky. Like, if they think you might be a morsel that they need to have a nibble on, they'll have a bit of a charge at you. There's always a bit of a bushy tail that you should always be careful walking through the bush, because a goanna could run up your leg, and they can, and they've got nasty big claws, and it would be just a case of they think you're a tree or, you know, something that needs to be potentially nibbled on. They're not aggressive, but they're definitely not afraid of charging at you and maybe putting their front two legs up your thigh in order to have a bit of a sniff of you. And that's very unpleasant. And they can grow up to over 1 metre long, which is also very unpleasant if you're walking through the bush and you encounter one. It sounds like she's got a couple that live at the back of her property, and they can be a bit cheeky. I haven't seen one for years. When we first moved to our Brisbane block, there was a goanna, but then he sort of moved on. See, I had dogs too. I feel like I can do something with that blue, but I think I need more green in place. So I'm sort of putting the horse before the cart, as they say. I don't really want to use stranded cotton. That's very similar. I might go a little bit darker. Let's get a few more darker greeny bits in. Technical speech. And then I'm going to come back with that guy and do a little bit more playing. But I think I need to ignore all of those scribbles that I did, because they're sort of not doing anything for me at the moment. I might do a little bit more these little tentacles just to build out spots that I can do things on. So yeah, if you're in between projects or you just want to break from your projects, set yourself up with just some small pieces of fabric. Collage a quick little background, just keep it simple. This is probably a little bit elaborate, but I had scraps and I couldn't control myself, so away it goes. You know how it is. If you tune into Jennifer's channel, she'll often do just a plain piece and a piece of lace and leave it at that. So you certainly don't need a lot of supplies to do this sort of little stitching project. I'm just doing a very rough, stem stitch here. Just to get a little bit more activity around my piece. I think I actually prepped this up to take with me somewhere and I didn't even touch it. I can hear a little willy wagtail outside. We've got two and they're very inquisitive little things. They're sort of, if I go out there with the dogs to water the garden, he's there immediately. He's very quick to see what's going on. And when I mowed the lawn for the first time, he pretty much followed me around the whole time, and any bugs that jumped up out of the grass, I might put a point on that little lazy daisy. Not that you can see it real well because the centre of it is closed, but that's all right. So yeah, he's an inquisitive little guy. And then there's a little girl around too. She's not as plucky. She's always sort of hanging back a little bit. So I'm going to assume it's a little girl. I also have in the backyard a dragon fruit plant. You might need to Google it if you've never heard of them. And they've sort of got a bit of a cactusy, elongated leaf that connects to another leaf and another leaf, and at the very end, every so often, there'll be a dragon fruit sort of come out and ripen. And when we were building the shed builder's wife was on site as well, helping him, and she spotted it when she was up on a ladder that there was this dragon fruit plant in the back of the bush. It was growing wild. And she spotted that it actually had a fruit. And I wasn't here at the time. I was still in Brisbane. And my husband said, oh, they clambered through the bush and picked a beautiful dragon fruit. And said it was just gorgeous, you know. So I've sort of been half keeping my eye on the plant. Well, the other day I spotted a dragon fruit. Now, Gaz had been in Brisbane for a few days, checking the house, mowing the lawn and doing a few odd jobs. And I saw this dragon fruit in the bush from the top of our retainer wall looking back. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna get him, but I won't get him now because if I go traipsing through the bush, because it's pretty overgrown where this plant is, and a snake bites me on the ankle, I'm going to be in a whole lot of trouble because there's no one here with me to rescue me, or at least call the ambulance and apply first aid. So, and I'm sure Pepper and Bandit would just sit on the top of the retainer wall and look at me. So I thought I'll wait until Gaz gets back and go and get it. So roll forward a week and I get my boots on and some long pants and say, righto Gaz, I'm heading in. I'm going to get this dragon fruit. And I had to get to it from another way, so I didn't look to see if it was still there. Down I went. And I get in there and I'm like, well, where is it? It's as pink as pink. Like, they're pretty easy to see. But no, I couldn't see it. Completely gone. So I yelled out to Gaz, who'd sort of wandered off, like, good on you. Try and keep an eye on me that I don't get attacked by some huge boa constrictor, which aren't here in this country. But anyway, imagination flies. Could have been a cobra. No, there's no cobras in Australia. Brown snake at least. So, no, it's gone. So I'm not sure if a neighbour who might cut through the back of our block to go for a walk around the lake has got it, because I've seen the odd neighbour come through the back way behind all of the blocks instead of walking along the bitumen, possibly. Or something's got it from the wild, like a possum or something. I don't know. Maybe birds. That's possible. So, yeah, it's gone. I missed out. I'm going to have to be on my game and be a little bit more aware of the fruit and get it when I see it, because if I leave it, it sounds like I've got some competition. Would have been nice. When you cut them, they're white inside with little black seeds. I'm a bit of a fan of them, actually. I wouldn't say they're real popular in Australia, but when we go to China for work and you stay at the hotels and you have that gorgeous breakfast bar of a morning before you start your day, dragon fruit is very popular. Watermelon and dragon fruit. And, oh, after I have my bacon and eggs, I have to have a bowl of watermelon and dragon fruit. And it's just beautiful when it's nice and ripe and yummy. So, yeah, would have been nice, but I think something has beaten me to it. Now, what am I doing here? I think I'll do another scrolly one here. I guess the process that I'm sort of trying to do is get all my branches in, then come back with stitches to do embellishing on those branches. And I'm doing a little bit of mix of satin, not satin stitch, stem stitch, split back stitch, whatever. I'm just stitching. If you want techniques and verbal instructions to go with your stitching, go and have a look at Jennifer's channel, because yeah, I'm not teaching you. I'm just stitching. I'm just like you guys, when we sit and stitch, if you want a tutorial on a particular stitch, you need to type that into the search, have someone walk through the processes that has a beautiful camera system, and they'll show you. You know, where to place your needle and the techniques. So, heads up warning there. It's a very harsh looking little branch I've just stitched there. But that's all right. We can do things to him to soften him up, fluff him up. Actually don't mind it. It has balanced. This is a very big branch, and that's not as big but still heavy, and we're getting lighter. So that's okay. It's all good. It will evolve. I wonder if I can pick up my blue thread now. Have we got enough little spots? Let's have a glance at Jennifer's book. Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on that new book. Oh, Jennifer's mentioned she's nervous and excited, and I can imagine. Oh. Might put a little flurry of blue here, coming down into this little zone. Actually, no, we'll do feather stitch. Haven't done that for a few weeks. Oh, I feel a bit rusty. been doing all these other stitches that are probably more simple, you know, like running stitch and needle turn applique and all those types of things. As for actual stitching, I haven't, so I need to freshen up a little. Yeah, I like that. And this is variegated. This, I think it's feather stitch. You put the needle in directly opposite where you've just come up. It's not fly stitch, it's feather stitch. It's a very cute little stitch. And I've completely ignored what I had sketched underneath that. You know what I might do? I might jump up and turn that iron on. I need to get rid of those lines. They were floating my boat back then when I sketched them, but come to the piece a couple months later and they're just not doing it for me today. This thread's pretty, changing colour. Let me just hop up and turn the iron on, and I'm going to iron it because it's messy. I can't see where I'm heading with it. So the iron's on, heating up. Let's do a little bit more of this guy. Oh, now I'm loving it. Might do a little one through there. The good thing about this type of project is you get to have a play with collaging as well. Come on, pick a point. Stop mucking around. Might make them a little bit smaller this time because we're sort of getting to the point of the little bush. So things should probably be a little smaller than down lower. Okay, and connecting. Got a little bit left and it's getting a little bit on the purple side. So where can I put that? Because that is going to be pretty. It's just starting to turn purple. Do we come up here, building on that? Or do I go down the base here and come in there? Like if that got stitched back out of the way, might try it down here. The purples will make it give, what's Jennifer say? It's got a nice heavy bottom on it now, and she builds up a bit of a thing at the base. See, I do listen. I do pick up bits and pieces. Oh my goodness. She's so quick at what she does, and it just flows from her, and it's like, often I'm stitching too, and it's like I look up and go, oh, what did she just do then? Oh my goodness. And you look away for a split second, and it comes back to the, you look back at the screen, you're like, oh my goodness, what did she do there? And then you rewind. I might just tuck that little guy in there. Place a stitch in there as well, and that'll pin him down. Get one more. How pretty is that? Yeah, that's a good spot for it because it has built the base up. Oh, see, that opens up a whole line of colours, some purples. I do tend towards purple a bit in my garden. Yeah, okay, I can hear my iron is clicking, so I'm going to give it a bit of an iron. Back in a second, guys. Yeah, that's made a difference. Okay, I can feel like I can see my work now. We've got rid of all of the interference. Okay, so, like, see, there's inspiration just on her cover. I think I could do still with a little bit more green. Just to put a few little bushels around, sprigs. Let's have another little play with some green. See those little stitches there, you can come back through with the cotton again and put little fine stitches into them. Might do onto this green that's lighter some little sprigs. Look, at the end of the day, just have a go. And I think there's the other little trick to it that I find helps me is give yourself a mix of ribbons. You'll notice that Jennifer takes from her orts jar because she does so much embroidery. She has bits left, like little bits like that. And she puts them all in a jar and then, well, that's too small, pulls them out and then does a little bit of stitching with it until it runs out. See, that's forcing you then to pick another colour or another style of thread or a ribbon or a... I think that's what makes it feel very creative. So don't be afraid to stop and start. Find yourself another thread, colour, ribbon, whatever, and do some more stitching. And just focus on one little sprig. You don't need to put this everywhere. Mix it up. That's my take on it anyway. That's how I approach it. And it's amazing what little morsels of yumminess you create. And the more you add, the thicker it begins to become, the more it looks interesting, the more you add. Like it's, yeah, a lot of fun. And once you get some of these little sticky strokes around, start then thinking about other shapes that you can do to add to your piece. I'm just going until I run out of thread here. Let's have a flip through the book and see what we can find. Some brilliant. See, this is where I get sidetracked and I just start looking and then like 10 minutes goes by and I've just explored. Oh, I know a stitch. Like that one there is one thing, but another one is fern stitch. Oh, look at those. Little fine ones. Maybe we could do a bit of that. See, it's hopeless. I'm hopeless. I just can't not stay focused on one thing because there's too many cute little additions you can do. I'm going back to the cotton, the sewing machine cotton. And I might do, I don't know what I'm doing. goodness. You guys need to get this book into your library, because I just feel like you would use it a lot. And I'd say, well, I did look a little while ago, but I believe so, that there is multiple sites now that are taking pre-orders for Jennifer's book. Can Do Books if you're in Australia. Of course, there's Amazon, but try and find some of the smaller guys. Booktopia. Oh, there's heaps. Just put in Jennifer Clouston's name, Foolproof flower embroidery, and you'll see them all pop up. So just building on the same thing I did over here, making them quite prickly little sprays coming out from this one little branch. Then I'll move to another branch and do something completely different. It's just building it up. It's much better now that I've got all those black marks off. Oh, Fudgy's up. He's having a drink of water. I can hear him lapping. I'm sure he'll come over in a second and say, ow, and say, oh, concentrate, girl. Goodness me. So you could put a little French knot or a colonial knot on the top of these little spiky bits. I'm running out of thread. These projects are so good when you just want to stitch and you just need to walk away from some of your bigger projects to give yourself a moment of rest and to have a little journal where you can just throw them once they're done. Yeah, very good. Highly recommend it, guys. Love that. The flower. Okay. Now I wanted to do some of these little guys. So to get some thicker leaves in amongst this piece. So let's have a look. Is there, what thread? Sort of an orangey. So I've got very autumnal tones. I might try this guy. He looks a bit interesting. Where are we going for time? Oh my goodness. See, that's why I say Jennifer is so quick. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. She just achieves so much. I'm still plodding along here. Where can I put one of these new fancy things I'm going to do? This fancy leaf. And I think it's going to be based on a fly stitch. Let's see how it goes. If we don't like it, we can just take it out. It's not set in stone. Come up there. Anchor it down so it doesn't go anywhere, and then do it again. I would say that my first stitch is probably not elongated enough to get a nice point, so it's going to be a fat little leaf, but that's okay. We can work with that. Now the question is, do I keep going in this style or do I bring it in with a little branch? I might do one more. Then I'm going to bring the stem of this little fellow down to meet the main plant. We'll keep him quite petite because I don't want him to overpower the piece either. That looks silly. I've lost my shape, that top edge. Hang on. Maybe he needs to be petiter. I'm actually going to back it out one more and join him off. I think he got too big. I'm still very high up in the branch, so I would say he probably needs to join in. And then we might put a couple little branches with him. So it feels like he's got some mates happening here. I wonder if I put a little elbow on that as well. Oh, so we've got a new little combination of stitches. Yeah. And then maybe I can come over here and do another one. So keep him similar, girl. Don't go and change the recipe just yet. Oh, we got a nice colour change happening in the... Hey, Fudgy. Fudgy's giving me a smooch. We've got a rain coming, apparently. It's already raining in Brisbane as it slowly moves from the south and central Australia in. Actually, what am I doing? Concentrate on this girl. So we've got a bit of a wet weekend happening, which to me is stitching, but no, we need to do... No, that was right. I was doing the right thing. To me, I need to build a barbecue, so that's my activity. And I'm going to play with this piece. Not sure when it'll pop up again. By the time we get into next week, I'll have the winter project underway and the calendar for... I'm just looking at my calendar. Oh, yeah, Susanna's prompt for the calendar. Oh, I hope she get this up. The teacup, I'll be playing with that. And we have the new Botanical Beauties. I'm really hacking this flower up here. I think it needs to be small. I think that's my problem. I'm so high up into the bush here that my flower is getting too big very quickly. And it looks like it's going to drag the little branch down. So I'm going to actually bring this little guy down and connecting. That's better. And then we'll give him the little elbow because that's the type of plant he is. So yeah, the month of June is coming along fast. There we go. So I'll do a couple more of those through the whole piece. It's getting really orangey coppery now. It's very pretty. It is starting to break down a little bit. It's very soft thread. I think I'll get one more out of this little morsel. Where are we going to put it? Might do a little bit of There's only a little bit of it left, so I should be able to sneak a little guy here. Anchor it down. I might just do it at 3 stitches because once again we're getting closer to the point. So let's lessen the morsel of stitch. Tiny itty bitty elbow. See, technical speak. There we go. Done. Just a little detail. All right, guys, I'm going to toddle off. I really want to attach. Oh, there's a wolf. I'm going to attach that label too because it's going to end up just getting lost. And I think I'm going to put it there. I think I did consider putting it down here too. But I don't know. I like it there. So I'm using my art glitter glue and I'm going to pop it on before it gets lost on there. This glue will dry really quickly and is like very strong. It's a little botanical collection, classification. Remember, this whole theory behind this journal is it's a botanist that's traipsing in some new country and is picking up all of these little plants, sketching them via stitch and keeping a record of them in his little botanist's journal. And all of these little morsels are from his lover that is at home, his wife who's back in England. It's like a whole story, guys. And he's creating this little book for his records. There we go. So I will continue to add a few more stitches, have a bit of a play, and catch you all in the next video. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. We'll be into June. Bye.